Hi, this is Paula Gloria, and this show is called Farther Down the Rabbit Hole. Today I'm going to take you on a little excursion of Union Square and my booth, or my little, my little chair and setup at Union Square by the Southwest Fountain, and give you an idea of what people are saying and thinking. Keep in mind that not everybody who comes by and talks to me wants to be videotaped, but I am able to share with you those that do. So let's carry on with Union Square. My thought was if I gave apples out, then maybe people could kind of get used to the idea of 9/11. By the way, that book, Democracy, is something that's put out by Oxford University Press, and it's the very short introduction series. And this one on democracy by Bernard Crick is just fabulous. It's my dream to find a sponsor that would send me to England, and because I think he's quite elderly. And I think it's very important that we start to gather the stories, the experiences of scholars, but not only scholars, so that we can create better realities, new realities.
Oh, you know you've been checking up on us? So we went and got out first. Yeah, yes, we got your information, but we came back that day. We had got it, so we came back. We were there in the morning. So the first step was done.
So you say you used to be good with 35 millimeters?
I did.
You were taking still photography?
No.
No?
For a journalist.
For a journalist?
For a journalist.
I see.
Meaning fire truck chaser, ambulance chaser, police officer chaser.
What is a police officer chaser?
When they're answering a call, you follow them.
Oh.
So you can photograph whatever the event is.
Okay, I heard the Black Panthers were protecting the black community just by following. They weren't exactly following them around, but they were available in case there was violence against the population. Is that what you mean?
No.
To prove that
Happens to be that, in my opinion, I was part of the young laws at the time.
You were part of the what?
Young laws.
Journals?
Young laws.
Young Lords.
Right. Used to be Black Panthers and Young Laws.
What?
Black Panthers were black and Young Laws were Latinos.
Black and Latinos.
Right.
You were like in a gang?
It was sort of a gang at the time.
You were kind of like a tough guy?
No, I wasn't.
You didn't hurt anybody, did you? Because this is about nonviolent communication.
I don't not get into that.
You're not going to get into that?
No. Unfortunately, I'm a Viet Nam Vet.
But you seem pretty peaceful around here. You know, helping everybody, and you know all the people.
Every coin has two sides.
Every coin has two sides.
Right.
What side would you like people on television to know about who don't know about it?
I would take...
Most of these are kind of rich people. They can afford cable, or if they can't, they've stolen it, so they're
guilty.
What's that?
I would do whatever it takes to make you feel good about me.
About you or about life?
No, I'd rather keep it on one-on-one.
One-on-one. Well, this is not one-on-one. This is.
If you want to share
what's
it,
your
come
name?
with me.
What's your name?
Max, M-A-X.
Okay, Max. Welcome to Manhattan Neighborhood Network.
Much.
It's community television, and it's all about knowing about everyone in the community, no matter what their
I'm an
social
open book.
position. You're an open book. That's great. Transparency. We should have that in our leadership. Thank you, Max.
You're very welcome.
So I was telling Max that the first time I met him, I found him a little scary, and he goes, "Why?" And I said, "Well, the way you look," and I was afraid. And then he said, he was, "But you're not scary, are you? Or are you?"
It's up to you.
It's up to you. It's perception.
Right. Everybody's entitled to an opinion. But there's
Entitled to opinion, but you know, like one policeman.
You must not always just go by the cover.
Yeah.
She can always be wrong.
Same thing with the policeman, right? We don't want to go by their cover. Because one person was saying that they're dressed to make us intimidated and afraid, and then I went and talked to one, and he said, "Oh, we don't bite." And I said, "But when you're carrying that big machine gun and all the riot gear, you look scary." You know,
Well,
but he didn't know that. He was just, in his heart, he was a human being.
It's part of the image.
Yeah,
It's
right.
nothing but an image.
Right.
Sometimes it's to make people feel protected. But sometimes it could be scary also.
Right.
It's very individual opinion.
But you can accept that you and the policeman, even though you're looking so different, are the same? Because some people are afraid of both of you. Or they don't want to really talk or really connect or understand who you are.
As I tell you, I have no secrets.
You have no secrets.
I'm an open book. You want to
So
know? Ask
nice.
me. I'll tell you.
Now that you're telling me, I can't think of what chapter to flip to. Is there anything you want to say?
Time will tell you.
What's that?
Time will tell you.
Time will tell you.
Right.
How did your mother, what was the best thing you remember from your mother telling you?
When she brought me alive,
What did she tell
I
you?
remember.
You remember when you were born?
Yes.
You're kidding.
Even though I had 3 skull fractures, I had partial memory loss, but I remember when I was born.
That's
I
amazing.
told her, and I said, "Good thing you're telling me the truth. I don't know how you know, because
You mean you described the situation
Yes.
when you were born?
yes, I described it to my mother. She believed me.
Wow.
So she witnessed it.
Of course.
This is how, in no way you wouldn't know. Unless you
Wow.
witness it.
That's like, in the Bible, they call that gifts of the Spirit, when you know more and
You
you...
see, my parents told me that I learned how to swim before I learned how to walk.
You learned how to swim?
Before I learned how to walk.
Well, how did you... How did
Because I
that...
used to crawl to the water.
You used to what?
I used to crawl to the water.
Crawl to the water. So you like water?
I love water.
Really?
Yes.
You like the ocean?
I love the ocean. I grew up near the ocean.
Really? Where?
Dominican Republic.
Dominican Republic.
Yes.
Have you been back?
Last time 13 years ago, but I'm planning to go this winter.
Oh, wonderful.
I'd like to bring you along.
You like to what?
To bring you with me.
You want me to come
Yeah.
to the Dominican Republic?
Yes.
And what do you do there? What would we do?
We live.
We live.
Right.
That's so nice. Just live.
I live in New York is survive and exist.
But not for me. I think New York's beautiful. I get up.
I love New York, don't tell me wrong.
Yeah. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I go to the East River and I watch the sun come up and I do breathing exercises. I mean, there's a lot of nature in New York, don't you think?
It's not a nature everybody look around.
Everywhere.
We have a lot of beautiful, I have beautiful nature in front of me right now. which is
Max,
good.
I'm so glad that we connected today. You sat down because I was always a little afraid of you.
I still like you. I love water.
Really?
Yes.
You like the ocean?
I love the ocean. I grew up near the ocean.
Really? Where?
Dominican Republic.
Dominican Republic.
Yes.
Have you been back?
Last time 13 years ago, but I'm planning to go this winter.
Oh, wonderful.
I'd like to bring you along.
You like to what?
To bring you with me.
You want me to come
Yeah.
to the Dominican Republic?
Yes.
And what do you do there? What would we do?
We live.
We live.
Right.
That's so nice. Just live.
I live in New York is survive and exist.
Well, not for me. I think New York's beautiful. I get up.
I love New York, don't tell me wrong.
Yeah. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I go to the East River and I watch the sun come up and I do breathing exercises. I mean, there's a lot of nature in New York, don't you think?
It's not a nature everybody look around.
Everywhere.
We have a lot of beautiful, I have beautiful nature in front of me right now. which is
Max,
good.
I'm so glad that we connected today. You sat down because I was always a little afraid of you.
I still like you.
Thank you, Max.
You're welcome.
So, any last things to say to the Manhattan audience?
I love you all.
Oh, thanks. Okay, I want to say right here, at that point, the camera was switched off. Let me see if I can go back. Oops, I want to try to go backwards. Okay, at that point, we switched off the camera. He wanted me to ask him better questions, or he wanted to tell me something about his life so that I could ask better questions. And as he started talking, I said, Max, please let me turn the camera back on again, because the stuff you're saying is just so amazing. And he said, no, no, no. And then one of the first things he told me, apparently he said that a lot of people wanted to do documentaries on him, but he had said no. He has been living on the streets for 23 years, which is a pretty amazing number. I mean, even 23 days is intense, I can imagine, with the cold winters. He said he went through 23 cold winters in Manhattan. So he was sort of watching me as the weeks went by, and this particular day I'd kind of squared off with someone about my space. And I don't have to get into the discussion that we were having, but he eventually saw me stay there. And the reason I did is because I told some viewers, come down and see me. I'm at the southwest corner by the fountain. And I used to get up so early, all of the vendors usually, arrive at about 10 o'clock, but somebody was staking out territory for someone else. Anyhow, somehow I feel in the weeks that have gone by, I have passed certain tests in the minds of the homeless, of which I'm very honored to have done. Anyway, he started to say, he goes, you know what alcohol is? And I said, yes. And he goes, you know what heroin is? And I said, yes. I mean, not by personal experience. I said, yes. You know the cocaine? I mean, he had his accent. I said, yes. And he goes, to be homeless is worse than all of those. And I tell you, viewers, he proceeded to tell me a story that all I could do was just sit there in tears. By the time he said Viet Nam, thanks to Webster Tarpley and some other readings that I've done, being turned on to knowledge on that scholastic caliber, when he said Vietnam, I just lost it. I was just crying quietly. The tears were coming down. And I just, as he talked, just grief opened up, just grief. I was looking at the ground, listening. And then he said one of the most touching things. He said, I didn't want to make you feel bad. I wanted to bring joy in your life. And he told me other amazing things about, maybe it would seem trite if I repeated it, just about the cycles, how not everything can be good. And I felt such huge wisdom coming, and was reminded in one of my favorite topics, Ayurveda. There's a beautiful documentary that's been made about Ayurvedic medicine. And in it, it says that in the scripture, the Ayurvedic scripture, it says to really have wisdom of the herbs, you go to indigenous people who are living off the land. Now, in a way, he's not going to be telling us about the herbs that are growing in Union Square, but he has another type of wisdom that I think is important for the Manhattan audience to know about, because many people do live their lives very wrapped up in what their salary is, if they get raises, if they don't, how their money markets are doing, how the stock's doing, worrying about peak oil, fearing that, if somehow on some subliminal level that we need to be in Iraq to ensure our lifestyle. These kind of illusions can be blown away. I mean, someone like Webster Tarpley, he's a scholar. He can talk about really what the fraud of peak oil, which I think is important, and I know Joe Friendly totally disagrees with me, but again, this is all food for thought. So all I want to say is, having opened up to the total grief of listening to him off camera, something came along, which will be next. And this...
I love the ocean. I grew up near the ocean.
Really? Where?
Dominican Republic.
Well, she was really my reward. Let's see if I can hone in on this. So, any last things to say to the Manhattan audience?
I love you all.
Oh, thanks. I just wanted to ask, you said that you saw Webster in on a TV show for about an hour?
I don't think I heard the whole interview. Are you calling him now?
Yeah.
Okay. You wanted to know about Webster's Harpley being on the Mike Malloy show.
And I was intrigued that you haven't watched TV for a year. That's why I asked you about.
You gotta understand, I'm not exactly like I live in, well, maybe it wasn't like a whole year, but I haven't watched cable in a while. Basically what it is that
if you want a bite, I can point away.
No, it's not like I'm ashamed to be seen eating. Come on. It's just that you were like deliberately focusing on the apple, and I was
No. I just want people to know if they come down, I'll give them apples, or you know what I mean. We don't.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Life can go on. We don't have to lock up over this.
What you're doing is fantastic. I mean, free food is always a blessing, you know. Anyway.
And I like how you can be so comfortable here.
It's like what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. So I hadn't watched TV for a while. Maybe not an entire year, because what it is this. Since March of last year, I've been living in a room in an apartment, like, you know, subletting. And during part of that year, it's like I had access to the living room, and the living room had TV, so I'd watch TV there, you know. TV didn't have like cable, it just had like the network shows, you know. And so I wouldn't have gotten your show on it anyway, which is too bad because it sounds cool. But then he moved into the living room, and so I didn't have access to the TV anymore.
She's just talking about the nature of her living condition and her access to television.
The guy who I was subletting from moved into the living room.
Yeah, she's going on and on about that. She didn't want to be on camera at first because she wanted to have her thoughts all lined up to talk about 9/11. But I became more interested in her story because, you know, her precision seemed to be a graduate student quality. But it turns out she has quite an interesting story about going to college or not going to college.
And also, like, I don't really have much in the way of, like, you know, I don't have room for a sofa in my room. You know what I mean? I have a bed,
I know
you know.
this is going on here, but she really explains what the value of television is in her life. And she had her
I'm at my parents' house, and they have cable. Well, I'm at my friend's house, and she has cable. And you know what? Every time I think I'm missing something, and I go over there, I find out that I'm not missing anything.
You know, yeah. You know, I remember I rented a house when I was in Ojai, California, from a lady who was writing for Saturday Night Live. She was, and she let me rent her place because I made a good joke. And it turns out she doesn't watch TV. So it's like you're either making it or you're watching it. So I kind of encourage people to make it. So here you are now making it. You
well,
know what I mean?
I guess if I had like, you know, a house that had like a living room, you know what I mean? I guess I would get a TV, you know, not so much for myself. I guess just like watch movies with more than watch TV. A friend of mine, she's staying at a friend's house, and it's like a family, you know. They have like 2 kids. Well, she has 2 kids because like she's a single mom, but like
it's really worth it to listen to her because when she talks about her parents and going to college and what she wrote and so on, it's very insightful. Where was that? Was that in your
I didn't see him.
Or that Mike, what show did you see?
Oh, no, it's a radio show.
Oh, radio
on Air America?
Show. Air America. I see. And you think that the guy got kicked off because Webster talked too much? I mean, Webster does talk a lot, but I found when I read his book, I could talk back. You know, we don't have to agree with everything, but if we're not informed, we kind of get blown away.
Okay, Air America is supposed to be this big progressive, like, talk radio thing. And Mike Malloy is, like, the most liberal of all of them, and the most angry.
Angry?
Oh, yeah, he's like, you bastards.
Really?
And that's what I like about him, because I played him late at night, you know, and, like, well, not late at night, like, from 10 to, like, 12. Well, actually 10 to 1, but we only got to 12 in New York. And then they were from 10 to like 12. Well, actually 10 to 1, but we only got to score 12 in New York. And then they replaced him in New York, like in the New York affiliate, of this god-awful piece of crap shit show called the Satellite Sisters. And so I was pissed about that. But then, like, I heard that they're going to be moving to a new frequency on the AM band, and that Michael Malloy was going to be brought back. No more Satellite Sisters. And I was like, yay! And then suddenly, you know, he just is canceled.
Really?
Like, no advance warning or anything. And he just gets canceled. And they say it's for financial reasons. But I don't believe that shit.
Really?
I think that's bullshit.
Well, you know,
I think that it's because he mentioned the 9/11 thing.
Oh, really? Oh, so it wasn't just Webster only. It was just 9/11 period that it can't be done, mentioned?
Well, that's what Webster Tarpley was on the show for.
I know, but did he have other people on the show about 9/11? I mean, I admire him because Webster's the best.
I can't remember, but I know that he talked about it, like, afterwards, like, you know, like, I can't remember if he had other people on the show about it.
So what's your education?
High school.
Really? How old are you?
23.
23? So you didn't go to college? You seem like really college material.
Well,
like, you know, Sarah Lawrence and all that.
You know, let me tell you something about Sarah Lawrence. My dad went to Sarah Lawrence.
Really?
Alumni. And there was this big pressure on me, you know, to go to either Sarah Lawrence or a school like Sarah Lawrence, like, you know, small liberal arts.
Right.
I wanted to go to a music conservatory, but I was discouraged from applying and didn't end up applying to any of them. I applied to all these colleges. I visited Sarah Lawrence, you know, and I really liked Sarah Lawrence when I visited it. And I applied for it, but, like, because me and my parents were fighting over essays.
Over what?
Essays.
What's that?
Like college application essays.
Oh, essays.
Because
they didn't like your essays?
They didn't like my college application essays. So they were like, you gotta do it over. And I was like, if you don't like my college application essays, instead of telling me to do it over and over and over again, why don't you write the damn essay, you know?
Why don't you go to college?
Yeah, right. Why don't you write the damn essay, you know? And so I was pissed, and I would get into huge screaming fights with my parents, especially my dad, on this.
You know, I just want to interrupt you.
And I actually sent the essay, I actually didn't even let my parents see my application to Sarah Lawrence. I just sent it in, like, you know, screw it. You're not going to look over and revise this college application, you know what I mean? Like, stop messing with me. Anyway, so I didn't get into most of the colleges that I applied for.
Oh, I wish I could see those essays.
I went
Can you get them back? We'll put them on air.
I don't want to think about them. Damn. No, the ones I sent to Sarah Lawrence was a good one, though. Like, it was a sincere, personal one. And my parents were like, it's too sincere, it's too personal, you know, because I was mentioning stuff because it's like, they tell you write about a meaningful life experience, you know? But what they don't tell you with the college application essays, the unwritten rule, is that you writing about meaningful life experiences, means that you have to write about a meaningful life experience where you came out on top.
Now this is the important part, ladies and gentlemen. What Max had just told me before, he definitely did not come out on top by social standards, but in terms of wisdom, he gave me a huge gift. And here she comes along and just verifies that to me. What a message for me.
You learned a valuable life lesson. And guess what? My life isn't like that. I can't look at the bad stuff I've gone through and be like, you know, oh, I learned something valuable for it, or, you know, it made me stronger as a person, because it didn't. It fucks me up, you know? And
so you mean, in other words, just sort of be with your grief, because Marshall Rosenberg, and that's what my little booth here is all about, nonviolent communication, he says that you can't be upset at yourself for being angry, because he goes, how could you not be angry if you're growing up in this society? And he goes, because you've been educated. So the word educated and conditioned seems to be very similar the way he says it. So what you're saying to me is something I'm learning at my older age, is that sometimes you just have to be in grief.
It's like college.
You know what I mean?
People.
Just to say you didn't come out on top. Well, like now in Iraq, if we have to wait until we you know, win that war, we're never gonna
They want this boulderized version of a person. They want you to be like, you know, not just having good grades and being smart and all that, but doing extracurricular activities and volunteering and having, you know, inspirational life lesson type stories to write about yourself. And, you know, I'm smart, I'm talented, I'm all that. But they don't want just that. They want you to be like this perfect person, like, or like...
Well, you do have high standards for yourself, because at first you said you didn't want me to film you until you had your thoughts in order. I thought, wow, you know, this is like PhD material here. I admire that you want.
Well, no, because I thought that you were going to be asking me more about 9/11.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, right, with the college thing, I went to Arizona State University, but I fucked it up because, full scholarship, merit scholarship, and I fucked it up because of behavior problems.
Uh-huh. Well, what do you think about
And after that, I didn't decide to reapply to any colleges, because what I really wanted to do was become financially independent, which I've succeeded in doing.
You've succeeded in doing?
Yes.
Great. How have you done that? We'll pass it on to the viewers. Because a lot of people who have PhDs are struggling with that.
Just, you know, searching for jobs, you know, it was a struggle.
Well, that's great. I noticed you took advantage of free food.
Yeah.
I think it's very wise and savvy. The reason I put it here is just to, you know, kind of offset what people think will keep food away from them. Somehow I think they think if they embrace 9/11 truth,
you'll keep food away from them.
No, that they'll...
They won't be able to eat anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of, like it.
Well,
like
they'll feed you there. I mean, what? Remember that thing that they had, where like there was this argument, you know, over torture of prisoners in Abu Ghraib, and they had, I think it was Donald Rumsfeld or some general, I think it was Donald Rumsfeld though, that saying like, no, we treat them very well. Like, we feed them rice pilaf. So, like, I don't know, maybe, you know, maybe the fact that I can see that 9/11 has, like, so many unanswered questions behind it, and, like, looks so much, you know, at least from where I'm standing, like a fraud. I mean, I could consider, like, the vastly delayed response, and, like, they never, you know, it's like a routine hijacking. They have jets up in the air like that. This one, there were all these delays, you know? They just had, like, all these delays, and then...
No, I'm part German, and I remember growing up in Berkeley, California in the 60s, and feeling very self-conscious about it, because most of my classmates and friends were Jewish. And I always thought, what would
Half my family's Jewish, so I know what that's like.
Yeah, but is the other half German? I mean, so you'd be like,
no,
at the same time?
No, I was thinking of something else. I was thinking of, like, conflict between, like, okay, I'll give you a good example. When Israel did that thing in Lebanon, I was totally against it. My family was for it. You know, I got a cousin who's over there fighting, you know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like I can't, and I can't just go to protest with it with the left either, because they want to say that everything Israel does is evil, and, like, you know, Israel is part of a big global empire, and they can't consider Israel's actions as Israel, you know, but, like, Israel, like, as the arm of the U.S. or whatever. Or they're even more paranoid, and they're like, the U.S. is the arm of Israel. They think they're the same country. And so it's like I couldn't relate to anybody, because it's like, on the one hand, you have people on the left who just want Israel to disappear. And then on the other hand, you have my family, you know, who is like, you know, anything Israel does, you know, is right. If they kill a whole bunch of civilians, then, well, that's okay, you know? Like, what the fuck? Like, they think the Lebanese life is worth less, you know? So it's like, I can't relate to anybody, you know?
Well, that's why when I read Webster about the Bush-Hitler connection, I had to put the book down for 3 days. I was
oh my God. Did you have, like, Nazis in your family?
Well, Germans, you know.
Well,
they weren't Nazis, and my dad...
They weren't members of the Nazi party, they just sat there and didn't do anything, went on with their lives?
Yeah, but this is the point. Everyone said, when I started to talk to Germans in an ashram, and they talked to their parents, they said, everyone said, you know, we've just now gotten jobs, we had such a tough time, it's going to get better, so let's not rock the boat. That's what I feel I sit out here for, is so people can get used to the idea that 9/11 truth will make things better.
Yeah.
We don't want to hold together a fallacy. That's what happened in Germany. That's what we don't want to do. That's what I meant.
It's like, you know, I was with this political organization called World Can't Wait for a while, and basically they're like, you know, anti-Bush, like organized protests to like get a resistance movement against Bush so that we can, you know, get him impeached basically, but has to put the pressure on the below. It just can't come all just from the politicians. But anyway, so hell yeah, impeachment is patriotic. So like I say to anybody, and we'd say, you know, this is one of the slogans that we sort of had, although it wasn't the official slogan, but we said don't be good Germans, you know? Like,
Right.
you know, you can see what this stuff is happening, you can see that it's wrong, you know, you don't want torture to be happening. Don't just sit there, you know, don't be good Germans, you know, work, fight to make this impeachment of Bush a reality, impeachment of Cheney, impeachment of Rumsfeld and all these, you know, assholes in the government, because, you know, we can stop this maybe before it gets as bad as the Nazis did.
Not maybe, I think we can. If people like you sit down and talk, have a bite to eat and share, you know what I mean? It's just so
Oh, I'm not
natural.
naive enough to think that just, crap, I really have to get to work.
You know what?